doesn't seem. What are you looking so sad about, Jack?
I'm surprised. I mean, I'm really insulted. I mean, that's not right what you just said.
What do you mean? What I just said?
I mean, I'm getting a drink of water. I'm late getting home, but you talk. I said something about the greatest heavyweight champ, man. I'm a hometown man, and you talk about Joe Louis, man. Joe Louis wouldn't be nothing for me. Joe, I tell you, Joe, do you think you would have stood a chance with me?
Well, Clay, one time during my career, I was on a Bomber of Month tour.
I would have been a bum compared to you.
What's happening, my people? It's Cast Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. That's right. You know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Box Historian, bringing you all that boxing history. Boxing is the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it. Can't get enough of it. Miss Cass, Mike Rim, Al Booger. Salute to everyone and welcome to another episode of Cast Sports, the Box Historian. Today, from the boxing ring to the prison cell. As the family today. Tuesday afternoon, still early in this big week of boxing history. Yeah, today we're going to talk about some fighters that went from the ring, served time. Some of them served time before they got to the ring. But that would have messed my title up, so. But yeah. We got 30 boxers we're going to talk about that did their thing in the boxing ring and then had to do their thing in the big house, okay? All that today on Cast Sports, the Box Story, okay? How's everybody today? It's Tuesday. Basically getting this week of boxing history started. We're going to talk about John Pascal Friday for the profile, life and career of John Pascal. career out of Canada, one of the Canadian boxers. Had a couple of great fights with B-Hop. Him and Bivol had a good fight too. Yeah. But let's get into our fight of the day now, okay? Without further ado, today's fight of the day. The fight of the day today is Julio Cesar Chavez versus Edwin Rosario. November 21st, 1987. Chavez versus Rosario. And yeah, this was a real grudge match. They did not like each other. Remember at the one press conference, Rosario told Chavez he was going to send him back to Mexico in a coffin. And this was Mexico versus Puerto Rico. So yeah, let's talk about it. Chavez versus Rosario, November 21st, 1987. No one questions the fact that Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. is an all-time great and one of the best Mexican pugilists ever, okay? Now, Salvador Sanchez, Carlos Zarate, and Ruben Olivares all have strong cases to be made for the top of the Mexican mountain, but the Lion of Culiacan also has a great argument as the greatest pugilist to ever emerge from Tierra Azteca. Proof? Just look at that stretch from 1984, when Chavez won his first world title, to 1993, when he got a gift draw in his fight with fellow all-time great Pernell Whitaker. In between, almost a full decade of nothing but wins at the elite level. A run that holds its own with those of the all-time greats of the Golden Age, such as Henry Armstrong or Sugar Ray Robinson. Yeah, that run rivals anything anybody has done in this great sport, the run JCC had. And which victories during that time, when Chavez dominated the fistic landscape, are most noteworthy, most demonstrative of Julio's superiority? His points win over two-time world champ Rocky Lockridge, or his battering of former champion Greg Hargan in front of the biggest crowd ever assembled at a fight, right? 130-something thousand was in the house that night. Or his thrilling last-second come-from-behind stoppage of Meldrick Taylor. Or his 12-round domination of Jose Luis Ramirez, or his one-sided thumping of Hector Camacho. We can go on and on about JCC. Now, all significant and important, no doubt, but one of his greatest performances happened in 1987 when he moved up to lightweight and completely dominated a talented, dangerous, and experienced world champion in Edwin Rosario. This was Chavez's finest hour, his most impressive performance, the fight in which all his gifts were on clear display. He was like a master painter at the peak of his talent, the brushstrokes flowing free, and the brilliant end result was nothing short of awesome, a masterpiece of pugilistic perfection. Now, it's easy to look back and question the significance of Chavez versus Rosario, excuse me, given what we know about Chapo, a boxer of immense talent and crippling power, but also a man who between fights did not live an athlete's life. This is Rosario, right? Between fights, did not live an athlete's life, and would suffer an untimely death at only 34 years of age. The Puerto Rican protege was no doubt past his prime by at least a couple years when he locked up with Chavez. But that doesn't change the fact that he represented Julio's biggest challenge to that point, both literally and figuratively. Okay? To that point, yeah, Chapo was JCC's biggest challenge. And there is Chapo. Edwin Rosario. Okay. Now, the pre-fight build-up was marked by some harsh words and bad blood, which is always to be expected when you have another episode in boxing's greatest national feud, Mexico versus Puerto Rico. Now, Chavez leveled some choice insults Rosario's way when he accused Puerto Rican fighters of always being too cocky. Now, the Puerto Ricans talk too much, declared Chavez. They're always boasting, always saying, I'm going to crush you. I'm going to knock you out. But then they can't back it up. And Rosario has a big mouth. And the people around him have big mouths, right? That was what JCC was saying coming up to the fight. At a pre-fight press conference, the two almost came to blows. And Rosario fired his own volley, telling Chavez, I will send you back to Mexico in a box, you coward. Pundits were divided. Now, some pointing out that Chavez looked to be the fresher fighter, while others made much of the fact that the Mexican was the one moving up in weight to challenge a boxer who had proven knockout power at 135 pounds. There was also the fact that while JCC's most recent fight of serious consequence was a close struggle with Juan Laporte, it left many underwhelmed. Rosario's awesome two-round destruction of Livingstone Bravo was still fresh in everyone's memory. At this particular juncture, it was difficult to say which fighter was more lethal, but it seemed reasonable to conclude that Chapo had an edge in both power and physical strength. Okay? And there they are with their promoter, the Don, Donald King. Okay? Hyping the big fight. But as we all know now, Rosario's power was nullified before the opening bell by the fact Chavez was the proud owner of one of the sturdiest chins in boxing history. In his prime, he was rarely stung, let alone seriously hurt. His ability to take shots and keep firing back was one of the keys to his amazing ring success. And as for strength, well, in fact, it was a Mexican who, unlike Rosario, stayed away from the parties and the nightlife between fights, and was the stronger and more rugged of the two. Okay? So that left boxing skill and hand speed as Rosario's only weapons to offset his aggressive adversary. But as early as round one, it was clear that would not be enough. The Puerto Rican attempted to keep Chavez at bay with his jab and earn his respect with his power right hand. But from the outset, JCC showed his quarry absolutely no respect at all, walking straight to him and unleashing heavy artillery to Rosario's body. The first two rounds were all Chavez, as he continually backed the champion up and beat him to the punch. All the talk of Chavez being at a disadvantage because he was moving up in weight went right out the window as soon as the fight started. Right out the window. That was dispelled immediately by Chavez because he came out there and walked straight to Rosario. The legendary Thomas Hill in the building. What's up, T. Hill? Fight of the day. Julio Cesar Chavez versus Edwin Rosario. Salute Thomas Hill. Okay. So, yeah. Chavez was moving up in weight, and everybody was saying that put him at a power disadvantage to Rosario, but Chavez dispelled that immediately. First round, he came out there and went straight to him. Took everything Rosario threw at him. Of course, Chavez had one of them chins, you know. Now, round 3 was a better one for Rosario as he matched Chavez's pace and found more punching room, landing some wicked shots to give the challenger pause. And he rode the momentum into round 4, even pinning Chavez to the ropes briefly and unloading some heavy blows. But then the challenger ruthlessly reversed the momentum, turning Rosario and forcing him to the ropes and landing one deep dish body punch after another. It was a terrific action round, but by its end, Chavez had reestablished control. Great fight. From that point on, Chavez versus Rosario slowly devolved into a one-sided beat down. What surprised many was not only JCC's ability to shrug off Rosario's supposedly lethal power punches while outmuscling the supposedly bigger man, but also his technical prowess. His hands were quicker and more accurate, and his jab worked to set up his vicious body attack. He also anticipated Rosario's big right hands and consistently smothered them, denying the champion the puncher's chance he now desperately needed. By that point, that's all they had left was the puncher's chance. And it's just like the 6th round. At the end of round 6, he began to find the target upstairs with his own right, staggering Rosario more than once. Yeah, it was all over but the shouting by the end of round 6. Rosario was down to a puncher's chance, right? Still 6 rounds to go. He tried to battle back, though. Now, Chapo rediscovered his jab in round 7, throwing it with conviction and backing up Chavez, but he lacked the strength and stamina to maintain the intensity, and in the final minute of the round, he was trapped on the ropes again and getting the painful end of the ferocious toe-to-toe exchanges. The Mexican pounded away with fury, digging viciously at the champion's torso like it was a piñata, and inside Rosario's ribcage was the great prize that Chavez had to have. He was going at Rosario like he had stole something from him. And increasingly desperate, Rosario was seriously hurt for the first time near the end of round 8, when Chavez backed him into the corner and landed a flush 1-2 to the head. Stunned and now bleeding with lumps all over his face, Rosario hung on and tried to shake off the cobwebs as Chavez sought to land the one big shot that could end it. Showing tremendous courage, Rosario dug in and fought back, but it was clear that Chavez was methodically taking him apart, piece by piece, like a butcher darkly chopping up an unwieldy carcass. Taking apart piece by piece, like a butcher chopping up an unwieldy carcass. Wow. Why didn't this corner just throw the towel in? Yeah. Now, referee Richard Steele takes a close look as the trap Rosario soaks up more punishment. Yeah, Richard Steele taking a close look. Now, why didn't you stop that one, Richard Steele? I'm gonna leave Richard alone. I ain't gonna start Al Booker or Richard. Okay. Now, round 9 saw the champion in full survival mode and staggered again at the end of the stanza by more Chavez's right hands. And in round 10, Chavez picked up the pace, looking for the finish. The crowd, sensing impending doom for Rosario, began chanting, "Chavez, Chavez, Chavez," as the Mexican warrior chased his quarry from corner to corner, hurting Edwin with every solid blow. Now, the gallant champion never stopped battling back. but he knew better than anyone that all hope of victory was gone. At the end of round 10, he was almost defenseless in the face of JCC's unyielding attack. Almost defenseless by the end of 10. 2 more rounds to go. Why Rosario's corner chose to send their man out for another? That's what I said. Why Rosario's corner chose to send their man out for another round of misery is anyone's guess. But round 11 was strictly an exercise in machoism for the brave Puerto Rican. He refused to give up, refused to go down, but he was taking a terrible beating. His left eye was completely closed now, and blood was seeping from his nose and mouth. But he never stopped fighting back as best he could until finally, belatedly, his corner signaled surrender and the massacre was stopped. Like a couple rounds too late. But they did stop it. That's right there. Chavez cornered the battered and bleeding champion. Look at his face, man. Wow. You beat somebody like that in the street, you catch a charge, man. Wow. Amazingly, Chavez looked not the least bit tired, as if he had enough strength and stamina to battle on for several more rounds if necessary. Now, reflecting the intensity of the decades-old Mexico versus Puerto Rico rivalry, he had shown Rosario no mercy, pounding him repeatedly with his best punches, but failing to send the proud champion to the canvas. It hardly mattered. From all corners of the boxing world came fulsome praise for the man many now hailed as the best boxer pound for pound on the planet. His performance had been so dominant, almost without flaw, that it immediately elevated him, removing all doubts. The next true boxing legend of Mexico, following in the footsteps of Ruben Olivares, Carlos Zarate, and the great Salvador Sanchez, had officially assumed the mantle of greatness. JCC. Yep. Now, a lot of people say Chavez is the greatest of all Mexican fighters. And this was his finest hour, his masterpiece, a performance to stand alongside those of the legends of the past. He took a dangerous and proud champion, and he battered and humbled him, winning almost every round. For the next few years, there was no question as to who was the best pressure fighter and body puncher in the game. With his demolition of Rosario, Julio Cesar Chavez marked his arrival as not just a multi-division champion, but a true latter-day great and a legend of Mexican boxing. JCC. And there is your winner of the fight of the day. JCC, Julio Cesar Chavez, in between Mauricio and Don King. Man, I would have ran. Got one of the Mauricio on one side and Don King on the other. I would have been running as fast as I could go to get away from there. Wow. Perro, sir, what's happening in the building? Perro, sir, that was the fight of the day. Julio Cesar Chavez and Evan Rosario. I was going to say Don King. Evan Rosario, yeah. He beat Rosario down. That was a Mexico versus Puerto Rico rivalry. The build up to the fight was bad. You know, they threw insults back and forth, and then JCC went in and beat him down. Yeah, humbled him. It was terrible, man. Anybody ever seen that fight? It was, I know Pearl will probably seen it. That was bad. But today, for the show, it's from the boxing ring. From the boxing ring to the prison cell. We got 30 boxers that was good boxers in the ring. Some of them great, legendary, and ended up doing time. Now, some of them did their time first, but that would have messed my title up. So, from the boxing ring to the prison cell. So I will acknowledge the ones we come to that did their time first. Went from the prison cell to the boxing ring. Okay, but let's get into it. Let's go with today's show. Boxing ring to prison cell or prison cell to boxing ring. All of them did one of those two. Okay. But how's everybody? It's Tuesday. Still early in this big week of boxing history. We got Friday is John Pascal. It's the profile. Okay. So that should be good. Canadian fighter. He had those battles with B-Hop up there, 2 of them. I think the second one was when B-Hop became the oldest champion, right? I think. I didn't correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was the second fight with Pascal when he was 48 or 49, something like that. He was up there, close to 50. I know that much. Okay. What? Pirro, you saw that one live? Oh, that's Jose. Oh, that's right. That's right, Pirro. I should have knew that. That's the father, Jose. Right. Yeah. Mauricio wasn't back then. Thank you, Pirro. That's Jose Suleiman, Mauricio's father. Okay. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. That's why, Mind Live attracts the historians. The hardest of the hardcores is in here. Not many people would have knew that. When I said Mauricio, not many people would have distinguished that was Mauricio's father. That wasn't Mauricio. But Pirro did. Mm-hmm. You go in any of these chats with hundreds of people in them, and not one of those 100 people would have known the difference. But my little chat with 5 or 6 people in it said, no, that's not Mauricio, that's Jose. Okay, let's get into this though. We're gonna look at some of these boxers that went from the boxing ring to the big house today. And that's Riddick Bowe and Mike Tyson and Floyd. Yeah, on the screen there. All 3 of them, they did their share, right? But Pirro, so you saw that fight live? Wow, okay. All right. Now, professional boxing, a world filled with incredible talent, fierce rivalries, and thrilling matches, is a sport that has not been spared from the challenges of life outside the ring. This is proven true thanks to the number of boxers that have been to prison for various crimes, okay? Now, within this gritty yet somehow glamorous sport, there are unique stories of boxers who, amidst their careers, faced the criminal justice system. Some fought tooth and nail to make their way back into fans' good graces, while others, unfortunately, faced uncertain futures and never made it back into the boxing ring. I think what's the guy named Ike Iwabuchi or something? Isn't he fighting this weekend? Yeah, he went to prison. Yep. He's making a comeback. Mm-hmm. But the first one is Clifford Etienne. That's him on the left. He's first. Now, from rising contender to a 105-year prison sentence. Yeah, I said that right. 105 years. He had 150. 105 was a reduction, right? He had 100. Oh, he fought last weekend. Okay, yeah. Pirro was 7 years old when that fight happened. Wow. Okay, 7 years old. Yeah, it was a long time ago. I was 17, Pirro. No, I was 27. I was 27, Pirro, when that happened. Mm-hmm. I wasn't there, but I saw it. Yeah, many times. But yeah, Clifford Etienne went from a rising contender to a 105-year prison sentence. Okay? Wow. He was knocked out by Mike Tyson in 49 seconds in 2003. In 2005, he committed armed robbery, attempted carjacking, and attempted murder of police officers. Originally, he had 150 years. It was reduced to 105 years without parole. So he got to do all of that, 105 years. Wow. Now, Clifford Etienne, once a promising heavyweight boxer, saw his career and life take a drastic turn following a series of violent crimes in 2005. Now, after robbing a check-cashing business, attempting multiple carjackings with children present and trying to shoot responding police officers. His gun jammed on him, right? Etienne was apprehended and later sentenced to 150 years in prison. His sentence was later reduced to 105 years without the possibility of parole. Now that's a joke. Why are you going to reduce the man's sentence from 150 to 105? Like that's going to make a difference. Oh, I only got 105 now. I'm going to get out one day, right? Come on, man. That's just like a slap in the face. We're going to reduce your sentence from 150 years to 105 years. Wow, thank you. That's crazy. Hey, maybe he's one of those people going to live to be 100 and stuff. Scott Harrison. Two-time world champions downfall due to assault conviction for Scott Harrison. Assault convictions. Hero said, we saw all Chavez fights at my aunt's. Okay. Yeah, Scott Harrison. There's Scott. He was a two-time WBO featherweight champion. Multiple convictions for assault in Spain and Scotland between 2008 and 2016. Served multiple sentences, totaling several years. He was released in 2018. Well, at least he's a free man now. I guess. He was a free man. I guess. Who knows? But Scott Harrison, a Scottish boxer who twice held the WBO featherweight title, faced numerous legal challenges that overshadowed his accomplishments in the ring. In 2008, he was jailed for assault and drunk driving. Later in 2012, he was convicted of assaulting 3 men at a brothel in Spain, resulting in a 4-year prison sentence. These legal troubles led to multiple incarcerations, with Harrison being released in 2018 after serving time in both Spanish and Scottish prisons. We're going to get to the big names later. James Butler Jr. That's James on the left. Fighting the guy with the hair dyed blonde. They should lock him up with that hairdo. Charge him with something. But that's James on the left. James Butler Jr. From promising boxer to convicted murderer. Okay? Convicted murderer. Wow. Yeah, I went through that. I know, I understand pretty well. I lived it through all of that. From the beginning to all the way up to now. Yep. You turned pro, what was it, 84? I think it was 1984. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I lived it. But James Butler Jr., he went from a promising boxer to a convicted murderer. Wow, let's talk about James. That's him on the left. And famously sucker punched Richard Grant after a 2001 charity fight. In 2004, he pleaded guilty to the voluntary manslaughter of Sam Kellerman, brother of Max Kellerman. Y'all know who Max Kellerman is, right? ESPN personality. Yeah, he used to be a big boxing commentator one time. Max Kellerman, remember? HBO, I think it was. This guy killed his brother. I always knew his brother had got murdered, but I never knew it was a former boxer. Wow. He received a 29-year prison term in 2006. James Butler Jr., known as the Harlem Hammer, he was a super middleweight with a promising career. His notoriety began with a 2001 incident where he assaulted opponent Richard Grant after a fight, leading to a 4-month jail sentence, right? In 2004, Butler's life took a darker turn when he was arrested and later pleaded guilty to the voluntary manslaughter of sports writer Sam Kellerman, resulting in a 29-year prison sentence. Brother of Max Kellerman. Okay. Floyd Mayweather Jr. From the boxing ring to the prison cell. Floyd, one of them, he took that route. Like some of them took the route from the prison cell to the boxing ring, but Floyd went from the ring, that way. Floyd Mayweather Jr. The boxing legend had domestic violence arrests. Okay. Now, Floyd has faced multiple legal issues, including domestic violence and battery charges, resulting in jail time and fines. In 2011, Floyd served a 60-day jail sentence after pleading guilty to domestic battery involving his ex-girlfriend, Josie Harris. Mayweather has also been involved in several lawsuits, defamation cases, and accusations of assault outside the ring. Yeah, outside the ring, because you can legally assault somebody in the ring, right? Now, Floyd's career took a dark turn when he faced charges of domestic violence in 2012. He was accused of physically assaulting Josie Harris, the mother of his children, during a heated altercation at her home in Las Vegas, Nevada. These allegations led to Floyd's arrest, and he served a 90-day jail sentence, but was released after just 2 months. Only did 60 of them. Despite this setback, he made a spectacular comeback in the boxing world, right? He fought many high-profile opponents like Canelo Alvarez and Manny Pacquiao. Floyd's ability to overcome his legal troubles and focus on his career truly showcased his unwavering dedication to the sport. Although his time in prison momentarily overshadowed his achievements, he ultimately solidified his status as one of the greatest fighters in history. Yeah, he made a nice comeback from those legal troubles. Floyd did, yeah. Fought Manny and Canelo after that. Had some big fights. Yeah, all of those fights were after all those troubles, yeah. Sonny Liston. Yeah, Sonny Liston. There's him and Floyd passing right there. Sonny Liston. Sonny was an alleged gangster. Okay? That's what they said. Sonny Liston had multiple run-ins with the law, including arrests for robbery, assault, and vagrancy during his early years. Now, Sonny was one that went from the prison cell to boxing because he had his troubles. But he never got locked. He never went to prison again once he started boxing, but that was before he went. But he had troubles during his career too. Now, his ties to organized crime led to allegations of fight fixing and suspicions surrounding his sudden death in 1970. Liston was incarcerated as a teenager and later faced, excuse me, let me take a drink. Okay, sorry about that. He was incarcerated as a teenager and later faced legal troubles for driving offenses, drug possession, and altercations with law enforcement. The Big Bear. Known as one of the most intimidating heavyweights in boxing history, Liston had a tumultuous life outside the ring. He had several stints in prison due to various criminal charges, which cast a shadow over his career. From charges relating to drugs to connections with the criminal underworld, Liston's crimes really added further complexity to his legacy. However, despite these setbacks, Liston demonstrated his resilience and made his comeback to the boxing world by reclaiming the heavyweight championship shortly after his return. But he never had it before he went to prison, so yeah, that reclaiming was the wrong word to use. Gaining the heavyweight title, okay? Yes, Sonny's problems was before his career. Vinny Pazienza. There's Vinny. Tasmanian Devil. Vinny Pazienza. We're talking today about from the boxing ring to the prison cell, or from the prison cell to the boxing ring. Now, Vinny was arrested for several minor crimes. Okay, several minor crimes for Vinny. Vinny faced legal issues, including arrest for DUI and reckless driving. In 2007, he was arrested in Rhode Island for assault after an altercation at a bar, adding to his history of legal troubles. Pazienza has also dealt with financial disputes, including lawsuits related to business dealings and unpaid debts. Benny Pazienza had a tumultuous period in the early 1990s when he ended up in prison due to a probation violation. Now, although the details of the violation aren't well documented, it was a challenging time. I bet you Bruce Gass knows. Despite the setback and defying the odds against him, he made an incredible comeback, chronicled in a 2016 film, Bleed for This. Yeah, Benny broke his neck in a car accident and made it back to the boxing ring after that. Yes, he did. He was in hospital, had one of those halos, you know. And he came back, got back. There's Bruce Gass right there. What's up, Bruce Gass? I got ESPN. I saw Bruce Gass coming in. I don't have ESP. I got ESPN. What's up, Bruce Gass? I didn't even know Bruce Gass was in here. And I said, I bet he knows. And you know he knows. Yeah. I was talking about Vinny, and they just said, the details of his probation violation aren't well documented. And I said, I bet you Bruce Gass knows, and he popped right in. Salute, Bruce. Yeah, we talking about today from boxers that went from the boxing ring, had legal troubles, or they did prison time and then made it in boxing today. Yep. Okay. Next is Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson. That's Riddick Bowe. He's next. There's Mike Tyson. Okay. Yeah, Mike. Yeah, everybody knows his troubles was well documented. You know, he had a lot of trouble. Went to reform school and stuff before his career, but then that rape thing, that was the biggest of them all. That one. A lot of people say it was a setup, but you know, Mike knew how big his name was and everything, so you know he should have never placed himself in that type of situation in the first place, you know. But the woman went to his room, hotel room, 2:00 in the morning, man. What did she think they were going up there for? To watch Johnny Carson? I mean, that's crazy. And then said he raped her. I heard she had sex with somebody else earlier that day. But Mike had the wrong legal team too. You know, a lot. Yeah. With the right lawyers, he probably wouldn't even have went to prison. But Mike Tyson, he was accused of rape. Yeah. Mike was convicted of rape in 1992 and sentenced to 6 years in prison. Served 3 of them before he was released on parole. Now, throughout his career, he faced multiple legal issues, including assault charges, road rage incidents, and financial disputes. Tyson also filed for bankruptcy in 2003, despite earning hundreds of millions of dollars, citing mismanagement and excessive spending. Robin Gibbons and Don King. I added that part, Robin Gibbons and Don King. Now, this former boxing champion faced a defining moment in his life when he became entangled in a highly publicized legal battle. In 1992, Tyson was accused and untimely convicted of raping Desiree Washington, an 18-year-old Miss Black America contestant in an Indianapolis hotel room. Yeah, man. Y'all ever seen her? She weighed like 90 pounds, and wow, Mike, she couldn't have been the best looking one at the pageant. Wow. But she was probably the only one scheming to get a case against Mike Tyson and get some money. Now, the trial captivated the media and attracted a global audience as the beloved boxer, known for his ferocious fighting style and larger-than-life persona, faced allegations of a grave crime. Tyson was eventually found guilty and sentenced to 6 years in prison. He only served approximately 3 years before being released in 1995. And upon his release, Tyson knew his reputation was tarnished. His boxing career hung in the balance. Nevertheless, he embarked on a remarkable journey of redemption, making an incredible comeback and ensuring each of his fights reminded the world of his exceptional skills. While his post-prison career had its ups and downs, his journey still showcased his appeal as a boxing icon, and he did win a title. He got the WBA, remember? He did get another championship. He won the WBA belt. Sure did. Now, Riddick Bowe. Riddick Bowe. He kidnapped his family. Yeah, Desiree Washington, Bruce. That was her. Oh, she was from Rhode Island? Wow. Bruce Gass says Desiree Washington was from Rhode Island, the one that Mike was accused of raping. Wow. Okay. Yeah, Riddick Bowe kidnapped his own family. Now, the boxing star had a long stretch in prison. Riddick Bowe was convicted of kidnapping his estranged wife and children in 1998, resulting in an 18-month prison sentence. Why did you kidnap your own family? Damn. He faced multiple legal issues, including domestic violence allegations and assault charges throughout his post-boxing career. Bowe also dealt with financial troubles, filing for bankruptcy in 2005, despite earning millions during his boxing career. Now, Riddick Bowe, a former undisputed heavyweight champion, faced his fair share of legal trouble, which resulted in an 18-month prison sentence. While the details of his legal issues may not be as well known as others, they still had a significant impact on his career. Bowe was one of the very few boxers who couldn't make their comeback thoroughly. Although he made a valiant return, he was never truly able to regain his dominant form, which unfortunately led to his permanent exit from the sport. And he went in the Marine Corps, but he only stayed 3 days. He had a 3-day career in the Marine Corps. Riddick did. Diego Corrales, yeah, he had some legal troubles. Diego did. Yeah. Ooh. It looked like it could possibly be an orbital bone breakage right there. The way the swelling is and everything, yeah. Yeah, wow. Okay. Diego Corrales. He spent over a year in prison. Jarrell Hattie. What's up, Jarrell? We're talking about some boxers that served time today, Jarrell. And Diego Corrales spent over a year in prison. Let's see what he did. Kensaw Love One in the building. What's up, Kensaw Love One? How are you today? Always a pleasure to see you. Kensaw Love One and Jarrell Hattie. Salute. Salute. Yeah, let's see what caused Diego to end up in there for a year. Diego Corrales was convicted of domestic violence in 2001, serving 14 months in prison after assaulting his pregnant wife. Oh, Diego, his pregnant wife. I've known people got 15, 20 years for that. And pregnant too? That's like another layer to the charge right there. Wow. He faced multiple legal issues throughout his career, including DUI arrests and financial troubles. Corrales' reckless lifestyle extended beyond the ring before his tragic death in a motorcycle crash in 2007. Yeah. He was still active then too. I think, yeah. Now, Corrales was a renowned boxer known for his epic battles in the ring. Now, early on in his life, he had to confront personal struggles, which unfortunately began to affect his personal life. He served time in jail due to domestic violence-related charges, which he said was a very difficult period that tested his determination. Nonetheless, Corrales bounced back, resurrected his boxing career, and engaged in unforgettable fights. Unfortunately, his life was cut short due to a tragic motorcycle accident in Las Vegas, 2007. Diego. Yeah. Diego is one of your all-time great favorites, Pearl. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I like Diego too. He could fight. Look like somebody might have got to the orbital bone right there, though. You know, the way the eye closing up and stuff. Look like he won, though. He's celebrating something. Tony Ayala Jr. He faced decades in prison. Okay, Tony. Wow. Now, Tony Ayala Jr. was convicted of rape and burglary in 1983, receiving a 35-year prison sentence and serving 16 years before he was paroled. Now, he continued to face legal issues after his release, including arrest for probation violations, drug possession, and assault. Ayala's career was derailed by his criminal behavior, and he died of a suspected drug overdose in 2015, about 10 years ago. This pro boxer's life was overshadowed by a disturbing conviction in the 1980s. Ayala Jr. was found guilty of rape, which led to several years of imprisonment and a significant decline in his career. On January 1st, 1983, Ayala broke into his neighbor's home, a young school teacher, and committed a heinous sexual assault, leaving a lasting trauma. Despite his tender age of 19 at the time, Ayala had already faced prior convictions for assaulting women, one of which occurred in a restroom at a drive-in theater, causing severe injury to the victim, including a broken back. Wow. Surprisingly, Ayala had received probation for these earlier offenses. However, due to a repeat offenders law, Ayala was handed a harsh sentence of 35 years. The prosecuting attorney argued during the trial that the young boxer posed a significant danger to the community, justifying the full term. Ayala served his sentence at both Rahway State Prison and Trenton State Prison in New Jersey, both in New Jersey, finally regaining his freedom in 1999 and continuing his boxing career. He won 6 high-profile fights, all by knockout, after his legal troubles, right? Although Ayala remained popular in his hometown, his fights were frequently protested by women's rights organizations. His unlikely comeback came to an end with a fight against the hard-hitting former champion, Yuri Boy Campos. The man did 16 years, you know. He paid his debt. That's a long time in prison. I used to work there. 16 years. So yeah, but you know, I'm gonna stop. The women might come for me. So yeah, he did 16 years though. Tommy Morrison. Tommy Morrison. There he is on the right. First Castillo. Okay. That one right there, Pearl, was the first Castillo fight. You know, when I was thinking Castillo too. Yeah, I was thinking Castillo. Yeah. Tommy Morrison, a life of self-destructive behavior. He could have been a great boxer too. Tommy Morrison had talent, man, but he couldn't get it together outside the ring. Tommy Morrison faced multiple legal issues, including arrest for DUI, drug possession, and assault throughout his post-boxing life. In 2000, he was sentenced to 2 years in prison for multiple charges, including weapons offenses and driving violations. Morrison also dealt with fraud accusations related to his claims about his HIV diagnosis. Yeah, Morrison faced legal troubles due to struggles with substance abuse, which resulted in his imprisonment for drug-related offenses. Spending over a year in prison, his health and legal problems presented significant obstacles when he returned to the sport, preventing him from reclaiming his previous success. Tommy Morrison. Jermaine Taylor. Yep. Here's Jermaine. When he still had hair on top of his head. Jermaine had mental health issues. Mhm. Jermaine Taylor has faced multiple legal issues, including arrest for domestic violence, aggravated assault, and firearm-related offenses. In 2015, he was charged with shooting and wounding his cousin, leading to legal battles and concerns about his mental health. Taylor's post-boxing life was marred by frequent run-ins with the law, including probation violations and additional assault charges. Here, Jermaine. A retired boxer who faced various legal issues, including charges of assault and firearms violations. While his time in prison was relatively short, it significantly disrupted his boxing career, leading to inconsistency upon his return, possibly causing his abrupt retirement. And Reuben Hurricane Carter. Yeah, that's Reuben on the left. Hurricane. Yeah. They made a movie and everything out of Hurricane's career. Mike Mazik. What's up, Mike? How are you today? We're talking about boxers that ended up in the big house, Mike, or went to the big house before their careers. Yeah, we got a couple like that, like B-Hop, the white Muhammad Qawi. They did prison time before their boxing careers. Matter of fact, I think both of them started boxing in prison. Sure did. But salute, Mike. How are you today? Reuben Hurricane Carter. He spent decades in prison for a crime he did not commit. Wow. Carter was convicted of triple murder in 1967, spending nearly 20 years in prison before his conviction was overturned in 1985 due to prosecutorial misconduct. His case became a symbol of racial injustice, attracting support from activists and celebrities who argued he was wrongfully convicted. After his release, Carter became an advocate for the wrongfully accused, working with organizations to fight wrongful convictions. Yeah, Bob Dylan made a song about it. They made a movie starring Denzel. Yeah, that was huge. Carter was wrongly convicted of murder and spent almost 2 decades in prison before being exonerated. His story, chronicled in the 1999 film The Hurricane, starring Denzel Washington, is a powerful example of injustice, and he later became a passionate advocate for criminal justice reform. Despite his boxing background, he did not return to the sport after his release. Probably was too old by then, I guess. Yeah, he was getting out. He did 19 years in prison. How are you gonna return to boxing? Okay. Yeah. Excuse me for a minute, please. Oh my goodness. There we go. But how's everybody this Tuesday? Beautiful Tuesday afternoon. It's beautiful weather up here in Randallstown, Maryland. It's about 30 minutes outside of Baltimore City. Hope Trump don't put them National Guard out here. Damn. Talk about Baltimore. Okay. Yes, let's look at some more boxing. We like in a third world country, man. Soldiers in the streets and stuff. That's crazy. But anyway, we're talking about some boxers that either went from the ring to prison or came from prison to the ring. Talk about Ike. Perro said he fought last weekend. Ike Iwabuchi. Now, the most fascinating case might be that of Ike Iwabuchi. The Nigerian heavyweight was one of the sport's fastest rising stars. There is Ike. He was one of the sport's fastest rising stars in the late 1990s. Within his brief 20-fight career, he was 20-0 too. He scored decisive victories over a prime David Tua and future title holder Chris Bird. He was, however, also a certifiable lunatic, right? He referred to himself as the president of the world, claimed that he was possessed by demons, and repeatedly committed sexual assault. He was imprisoned in 1999 after attempting to rape a call girl in Las Vegas. Wow. He has been denied parole on several occasions, right? But he's out now. He was denied parole on several occasions, but he's out now. Mm-hmm. Pirro said he fought last weekend. Matter of fact, Evan Valero. Well, that's Evan Rosario. I got the wrong picture. That's Evan. I'm sorry, Edwin. That's Evan Rosario. Damn. We're talking about Evan Valero. I've made a picture of Evan Rosario. No, Evan, I haven't had that kind of trouble like Valero had. Now, it's uncanny the ways in which the characteristic of life outside and inside the ring intertwine, okay? Evan Valero is Exhibit A. His 28 years in life were as violent, spectacular, and abbreviated as were his 27 fights, all of which he won by knockout, okay? Won every fight he had by knockout. Now, before turning pro, Valero crashed his motorcycle and sustained a fractured skull and brain bleed. As a result of complications from these injuries, Valero had difficulty obtaining a license to fight in the United States. Traveling between 3 continents, the Venezuelan Dynamo proceeded to knock out his first 18 opponents in the first round, okay? And knocked out all 27 he faced in his career. In what would be his final fight, Valero stopped Antonio DeMarco after round 9 in February 2010. Shortly thereafter, he was arrested and forced to undergo psychiatric treatment for abusing his wife, among others. And in April 2010, he stabbed his wife to death in a hotel room in Valencia, Venezuela. The next day, he hung himself in his jail cell, or hanged himself in his jail cell. Whatever madness drove him to destroy himself and those who loved him was also the force that drove him to be to the brink of greatness in the boxing ring. We will never know, of course, how good he could have been. His annihilation of the talented DeMarco, who later beat Jorge Linares with a come-from-behind stoppage, only suggests what Valero might have become. Yup. Wasted talent, man. Evan Valero. Okay, we was talking about the white. Next is the white Muhammad Qawi. Here's the white. Yeah. Now, he was one that went from prison to the ring, right? He did his time before he got into boxing. White did. Mike Webb said, go let him out. He out, Mike. They let him out. Yeah. They let him out. I was thinking the same thing. Leave him in there. Yeah, I knew he had a fight coming up. Pirro said it was last weekend. Mm-hmm. He's back in the boxing ring, too. Yeah. The white Muhammad Qawi is next. He was born to white Braxton. He was a swarming force of destruction during the 1980s. He won titles at light heavyweight and cruiserweight. I think he fought at heavyweight too, but he didn't win a title there. His fights with Matthew Saad Muhammad garnered him international spotlight attention. However, it's his titanic struggle against Evander Holyfield in 1986 that has come to define his career. Despite losing a 15-round split decision, the battle was widely considered the best in the history of the cruiserweight division. And Holyfield admitted he started to quit during that fight. Holyfield said that was the toughest fight of his career. Not Riddick Bowe or Mike Tyson or Lennox Lewis. It was the white Muhammad Qawi. Now, Qawi was raised on brutally mean streets of Camden, New Jersey, right? He was convicted of armed robbery and sentenced to 5 years in Rahway State Prison. He learned to box while at Rahway, and upon his release in 1978 at the age of 25, he began training at Joe Frazier's gym in North Philadelphia, and he turned pro. He finished his Hall of Fame career with a record of 41 wins, 11 losses, 1 draw, 25 knockouts. And he learned how to box in prison, raw way, and he went back and fought a pro fight at that same prison because James Scott was in prison, and the networks, Howard Cosell, Sugar Ray Leonard, all went to the prison and commentated these fights and everything for James Scott at the prison. We did a show on that, remember? And Braxton was when he got out of prison, he actually went back there for a fight. Couldn't have been me. That's one fight wouldn't have happened. Once I got out, that been it. I ain't going back for nothing. But yeah, he did actually go back to the prison, all seriousness. And had a fight there. Yep. The white Muhammad Qawi. Next is B-Hop. B-Hop is another one that he started boxing in prison, right? Then he came out and had all his success. Okay, we got Sonny Boy Boxing in the building. Salute, Sonny Boy. How are you today? And then we got BVO Boxing TV in the building. On the Sports Talk Network. What's up, BVO? And Sonny Boy Boxing. We talking about some boxers today that from the boxing ring to the prison cell, or from the prison cell to the boxing ring. Like Qawi, we just talked about in B-Hop. They started boxing in prison. And both came out and became champions. B-Hop is the oldest champion ever in boxing, any weight class. Okay, Bernard Hopkins. Yep. Now, before making a record, 20 defenses of his middleweight title and becoming the oldest man to win a world championship, Bernard Hopkins was a troubled teen in a rough North Philadelphia neighborhood, right? At the age of 17, he was sentenced to 18 years in Graterford State Penitentiary for 9 felonies, including armed robbery. He was released after 5 years in 1988. Wow. 18 years and just did 5. But that's how it is. Yeah. I've seen people with 40 years do 5. So, the time they give you in the courtrooms don't mean nothing. It doesn't mean anything, man. Nothing. You hear somebody get 80 years in prison, that don't mean nothing. They might do 10. Seriously, I've seen it. So B-Hop had 18 and did 5, okay? Now, the story of his final discharge has become legendary in boxing circles. When the warden told Hopkins that he'd see him again, Hopkins replied, "I ain't ever coming back here." And he was right? And thank goodness for his boxing fans. Yeah, because B-Hop went on to a legendary career. Oldest man ever, remember, to win a title. Charles McCoy. Yes, Charles. Charles was a bad boy. Yeah. Where are you, Charles? Charles McCoy. Do I have a Charles McCoy in here? Carlos Monzon. Yeah, no Carlos. Sweet P. Yes, Sweet P. Yeah, I went right past Charles. Charles McCoy is next. Okay. Yeah, Charles Kid McCoy. Y'all heard me talk about it before. Charles Kid McCoy is one of boxing's looming figures, perhaps his most famous or infamous, right? He could punch like hell and was not above bending the rules to beat his foes. Yeah. Charles would go low or headbutt, referee on the other side or something, He allegedly wrapped his gloves with sandpaper or tape to cut his opponents more easily. Legends also hold that McCoy once tricked welterweight champion Tommy Ryan into believing he was sick prior to the 1896 fight, right? He is credited as the inspiration for the phrase, "the real McCoy," and the source of the Yeshua's untied Gavin. Yeah, Charles was a trickster. Now, beyond these tricks, though, McCoy was one of the pioneers of the sweet science. His craft and intelligence in the ring led him to a record of 86 wins, 7 losses, 10 draws, 65 knockouts, and a place as one of the greatest boxers to ever live. Now, McCoy's colorful life, which at one point involved the career of Hollywood and a friendship with Charlie Chaplin, met a tragic end. In 1924, a broke McCoy shot the wealthy married woman with whom he had been living when she considered reuniting with her husband. The next morning, he held up her antique shop and shot 3 other people. None of them died, though, okay? McCoy served 8 years at San Quentin and eventually killed himself in 1940. And that was the original real McCoy right there. Mm-hmm. We went over that before, remember? Sweet Pea. Yeah, Sweet Pea had some legal troubles. Colonel Whitaker. Yep. Yeah, the real McCoy, Sweet Pea. Okay. Now, unlike numerous others on this list, Colonel Whitaker's slippery, intelligent, technically perfect style inside the ring belied his lack of discipline outside it. Sweet Pea was nothing short of remarkable between the ropes. A modern-day Willie Pep, only with more charisma. He was, in the words of the legendary Burt Sugar, an artist. Meanwhile, he struggled with substance abuse and fast living throughout virtually the entirety of his fighting career, right? Late in his career, Sweet Pea struggled to stay motivated. He tested positive for cocaine following a 1998 fight against Andre Pestrayev, something like that, and was made to enter rehab, postponing a scheduled fight against Ike Corte. In late 2001, Sweet Pea was caught carrying a pack of cocaine into a Virginia Beach courthouse. Oh, Sweet Pea, why you carrying it in there for, man? Do your thing before you get to the courthouse, man. Oh, caught carrying a pack of cocaine into a courthouse. He was attending a hearing following his near overdose on the drug in March of that same year. He pleaded guilty to felony possession of cocaine in 2002, the same year the ring named him number 10 on their list of the 80 greatest fighters of the past 80 years. He stayed out of trouble after that the rest of his life until his death. Sweet Pea. Wow. He turned the cocaine into the courthouse. Damn. Sweet Pea. That's crazy. What is the colonel in there for? King Carlos Monzon is next. King Carlos. Now, Carlos Monzon's record is almost unimaginably good. Great. He started his career at 16-3, right? And would not lose again for the rest of his career. Next 81 fights after that, never lost it. He went 13 years without losing, okay? He ended his career by upending the hard-hitting Colombian legend, Rodrigo Valdez. Now, Monzon fought with a sort of disregard for discipline or conventional technique, kind of like an old school, what's the guy name? What's the Mexican guy name? That breaks every rule, but he's still always winning. Navarrete. Yeah. Monzon was kind of like a Navarrete before Navarrete, right? He fought breaking all the rules and just doing everything you ain't supposed to do, but he still kept winning, right? Yeah, like an old school Navarrete. Mm-hmm. He fought with a sort of disregard for discipline or conventional technique. Yet, he carried murderous power in both hands. His conditioning was unmatched, and his chin was impervious to dynamite. You had one of those chins. Yeah. Like we call it Canelo chin nowadays. Yeah. Monzon had one of them. In short, Monzon fought with the kind of anger and relentlessness one can only learn coming up in the hellish poverty of his early life, right? The refrain should be familiar by now. The demons that generated his fighting prowess also drove him to self-destruction. Monzon's fast living and inborn aggression caught up with him after he retired. When the movie roles in Europe dried up, he went completely out of control. He was an actor too. He beat up his wife, his girlfriends, and the paparazzi. Yeah, the paparazzi was scared to follow King Carlos. He used to beat them up. In 1988, while vacationing in his native Argentina, Monzon barely abused his wife before throwing her from a balcony. He was convicted of homicide and sentenced to a mere 11 years in prison. He died in a car accident while on weekend furlough in 1995. Imagine that. He was in prison for murder and out on a weekend furlough. They would never do that here because how many murderers going to be on their way back to prison? You let them out for a weekend, right? You're going to have to go find them. He was on his way back. He only had 11 years. Died in a car accident on his way back. The one legacy of Monzon's unfortunate history has been the influence on the commendable work of fellow Argentinian middleweight champion Sergio Martinez, who has been a strong advocate for victims of domestic abuse. Yeah. And Jack Johnson. Yeah, Jack had his troubles. The Galveston Giant. Jack Johnson. Yeah, we talking about some boxers that had legal troubles, bound up in the big house. Now, Jack Johnson spent most of his life on the run, whether by force or on his own accord. His refusal to live by the regrettable standards of the time enabled him to become the first Black world heavyweight champion. Now, of course, it also made him public enemy number one. In 1920, after a number of years defending his heavyweight crown and appearing in exhibitions abroad, Johnson turned himself in to federal authorities. He was convicted of violating the Mann Act, which was intended to halt the interstate trafficking of prostitutes. Johnson had merely purchased a train ticket from Pittsburgh to Chicago for his white girlfriend. Johnson's conviction, he spent only 1 year in prison, has remained a topic of political debate in the many decades since. Despite numerous efforts by legislators, including John McCain, he was pardoned by Donald Trump in his first term. Yeah, around 2018, something like that. He did get pardoned. This article was written before that happened. Okay. It is perhaps the most overstated cliche in boxing that Johnson was far ahead of his time in nearly every way. His skill, outsized personality were the model for generations of prize fighters up to and including the present day. Sadly, it seems he was a trailblazer for most of the ill-fated included on this list, right? Yup. Poverty, the fast life, booze, and drugs, and automobile accidents. Yeah. Jack Johnson was the trailblazer for most of everybody else on this list that came behind him. As is evident in any number of other practices, genius is often accompanied by mania. It must be that there's a reason why the two are such frequent dance partners. Okay, here we got a few more. What time is it? Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Who's next? We got Esteban de Jesus. Yeah. Esteban had his share. Yeah, Esteban committed murder at a stoplight and got life. But he got pardoned because he caught AIDS in prison, and through an act of mercy, the president of Puerto Rico pardoned him and let him serve out his time at home with his family around him. I think he lived less than a year after they let him out. Yeah. I don't think he lasted that long at all. after he got out of, after he let him come home. Okay, bear with me for one moment. Night. But how's everybody? We are still early in this big week of boxing history. I think we're gonna do Cuba Thursday for our country. So that's gonna be a big one. A lot of boxing history in Cuba. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Esteban de Jesus next. Okay. There we go. Yeah, that's Esteban up there. Now, Esteban was pardoned due to a terminal illness, right? An important quality that separates a good boxer from a great one is how well that person can make split-second decisions. However, one bad choice by Esteban de Jesus over a traffic dispute in Puerto Rico led to the death of a 17-year-old kid. And de Jesus was given life in prison for the murder, but he only served 7 years after he was diagnosed with AIDS and was subsequently pardoned by Governor Rafael Hernandez Colon. Yeah, 1 month after being pardoned, he died at the age of 37. Yeah, once they let him out of prison to go home and die, really, because he died a month later. Yep, Esteban. Luis Resto, that's got a couple more boxers from the ring to prison, to the prison cell. Luis Resto, that's Luis on the right. Oh my goodness, I missed my daggone chat phone up, man. Oh, bear with me. I gotta get the chat back up. I gotta be able to see the chat. I picked up the wrong phone. Damn. No wonder I couldn't find my article. It's only gonna take me a second to get the chat back going. Everything was going so smooth. There we go. Gotta be able to see the chat. Damn. I knew it was something. There it is. Gotta see what y'all talking about. Who coming in? There we go. Sunny Boy said, wow. Salute, Sunny Boy. Okay, yeah, Nate's was Luis Resto. That's him on the right there. Luis. Okay. He's after Esteban. These are boxers that ended up in prison or was in prison and ended up as boxers. You know, a couple of them did. But they all did some time. Yeah, we did, Sonny. Listen. Luis Resto. Now, what did Luis do to get in trouble? Let's see. Can't find him. There's Luis. Okay. Luis. He will forever be remembered for his part in one of the ugliest moments in boxing and sports history. He was the one that he got in trouble in the ring. Now listen to Luis, right? After his 1983 fight with Billy Collins Jr., Resto was found to be using thinly padded gloves and hand wraps cast in plaster of Paris. You know, they get harder as the more moist they get, you know. get into the fight is like cement. Wrestler and his trainer, Panama Lewis, were later convicted of assault and other charges. The boxer was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison. Now, his opponent, Collins' boxing career came to an eventual end, the result of permanent eye damage that happened from that fight, right? Now, less than a year later, Collins ran his car into a ditch, killing himself instantly, right? All that related to that, this slime ball putting plaster of Paris in his gloves. Louis Wrestler, that's him on the right there, yeah. He deserved decades in prison for doing that. In a sport, you know, you're gonna fill your glove with plaster of Paris. Him and Panama Lewis. Trevor Berbick. Yeah, that's sleazy there, what he did. That's Trevor fighting Ali. Trevor on the left. Trevor Berbick. Yeah, we just got a couple more. Trevor Berbick, sexual assault was his crime. Now, many people who don't follow boxing may have never heard of Trevor Berbick, but even then, there's probably a good chance you've seen his epic fate, which came against a young Mike Tyson. Anyway, nearly a decade after that fight, Trevor was scared, trembling when they was in the face-off. But a decade after that fight, he had another epic fail when he was convicted of sexually assaulting his children's babysitter, right? Only months after his release, he was deported for violating his parole. Trevor Berbick, sexual assault. He had Floyd Jr. How about Floyd Sr.? Remember? Floyd Sr. had his troubles. Yep. Floyd Sr. He had drug-related charges. Floyd Sr. was drug trafficking, okay? Floyd Mayweather Sr. went to jail on some interesting terms. From 1987 to 1992, he and a couple of colleagues were smuggling cocaine into the United States in detergent boxes, right? In 1993, he was eventually caught, charged with drug trafficking, and served 3 of the 5 years that he was sentenced to in jail. Bringing it in detergent boxes. I wouldn't say like father, like son. Son ain't never did nothing like that. He had domestic problems. Floyd Jr. did. Yeah. Michael, second to none. Yeah, he's out now. He wanted to get all up in the drug world too, remember? Michael Nunn. Yeah. There he is. Wanted to be in he did like 15 years. He got out in 2008, 19, something like that, Michael Nunn did. Yeah, Michael Nunn. Michael second to none. We talked about some fighters that went from prison, under boxing ring to prison or prison to the ring. Yeah, Michael Nunn had conspiracy to distribute controlled substance. Now, before the infamous Sam Hurd incident, there was Michael Nunn and his stroke of stupidity. While staying at a hotel in Davenport, Iowa, Nunn was arrested for purchasing 1 kilogram of cocaine from an undercover agent. In 2003, he was found guilty on 1 count of conspiracy to distribute a controlled substance. After word got out of Nunn's history of drug trafficking, he was sentenced to 292 months in federal prison, right? He got up, his release date was supposed to be 2024, but he got out in 2019. Yeah. What is 292 months? How many years is that? That's 24 years. Wow. He did about 15 of it. You know, I've seen people have 24 years, do like 18 months. So, yeah. But, yeah. Depending on how you carry yourself in there, you know what I mean? Yeah. Harry Simon. Harry Simon. Here's Harry. Harry Curry, culpable homicide. Culpable homicide, right? 1 minute you're a world champion boxer, the next you're behind bars, thinking about what was. Harry Simon knows all about this sad scenario. Simon was the WBO middleweight champion just months before he killed a Belgian family of 3 in a car accident. He was found guilty of culpable homicide and sentenced to 2 years in prison. Yep. Killed people with his culpable homicide. I had trouble with words with P in them. James Kirkland. James Kirkland. Just got a couple more after James. James Kirkland. Gun possession with James. James Kirkland served a ton of time in prison for brandishing a gun on 2 separate occasions. The first time he served 30 months for armed robbery. He followed that up by getting another 24 months after a routine traffic stop led to the discovery of a firearm in his car. Yep, James Kirkland. And the final 2, we got the Prince. We talked about the Prince when he did his profile a couple weeks ago. Well, let's go over it real quick. The Prince, Naseem Hamed. In May 2006, the former featherweight boxing champion, Prince Naseem Hamed, was sentenced to 15 months in prison for dangerous driving. This sentence stemmed from a high-speed collision in April 2005, where his McLaren Mercedes sports car crashed into 2 other vehicles, seriously injuring one of the drivers. Hamed pleaded guilty to the charge of dangerous driving. He served 16 weeks of his sentence before being released in September 2006 and placed on home detention curfew. Okay, the Prince. Finally, Johnny Tapia. There's Johnny. There's Johnny. The old heads know that one. He's Johnny Carson. Here's Johnny. Johnny Tapia. Man, this telephone. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, Johnny, we're gonna do Johnny Tapia, and then we're gonna get some link time in. Everybody is welcome to hit the link and come up and talk this boxing or whatever you want to talk. I don't care. Talk stuff. Okay, but let's get Johnny out the way. He's the final one of the fighters that went from, and he went from the ring to prison. Johnny did. Hope everybody enjoyed today's show. Man, what did Johnny do to get in trouble? 5-time world champion boxer Johnny Tapia was jailed multiple times for violating the terms of his probation, which were often related to drug offenses and his ongoing struggle with substance abuse. He was repeatedly returned to jail or ordered into rehab for testing positive for drugs, right? That was according to ESPN. Now, drug possession and I told you I have trouble with words start with P. Drug possession and probation violations. In 2007, Tapia was convicted on a felony drug possession charge and put on probation. Over the next 4 years, he repeatedly violated the terms of his probation, including failing drug tests, testing positive for cocaine, and traveling outside of approved areas. Each violation led to further jail time or mandatory rehab, and he got suspended from boxing. His struggles with cocaine also led to a significant suspension from boxing between October 1990 and March 1994 after testing positive once again for cocaine. Okay? Tapia's life was marked by a challenging childhood and a lifelong battle with drug addiction, which frequently led to legal trouble and stints in jail or rehab. He passed away in 2012 from heart failure. Yep, and he did. Okay, let's get some link time. But there you have it. from the boxing ring to the prison cell, or from the prison cell to the boxing ring. Okay. I got a pioneer for today, but I'm gonna put the link in first. We start on our pioneer until somebody hit the link or something like that. But how's everybody? It's Tuesday afternoon. I don't know what's going on this weekend. Anything? I know it's somebody fighting somewhere. But we pulling up on Bud and Canelo fast. I still got Canelo. I think it's going to be a decision. 15-round unanimous decision. No, 12 round. What am I talking about? 12-round unanimous decision for Canelo. Yeah. 15 been over with. I don't know what I was thinking about. We haven't had 15 going on 40 years. You know? It started when the Boom Boom Mancini Duke Kim, but it still went on for like 5 or 6 years after that before it officially. But that was the beginning of the end when that happened. Yeah. Duke Kim, the Korean boxer that died as a result of injuries suffered in the fight with Boom Boom Mancini. Yeah. In the 80s something. Early 80s. 84, something like that. I can't remember. I got it written down somewhere, but I don't have any idea where. But it was in the 80s, trust me. Okay. Okay, here's the link coming in. All are welcome to hit the link. Okay. No fights this weekend, Sonny Boy. Wow. I haven't seen much of anything. I know there ain't no big names in there. Yeah. This week. Okay, let me get the. Oh man, let me find the cursor. There's T Hill. There we go. What's up, T Hill?
You got the best gas now. Trying to make it, man, and maintain.
I hear you. What's going on with you? Huh?
I said, how about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing okay. Just chilling.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
The world of boxing. We got an echo or something, T Hill.
I do.
Somebody, it's some kind of little static or something. Go out and come in real quick. That usually does it. I'm trying to get this picture out the way. Oh, okay. I'm trying to go up and I'm at the top. No wonder it wouldn't go up. I always do that. Oh, shit. Now what? I'm coming to you. Oh, I know. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Okay. I'll have them all. I'm not technology. Okay.
So do I still have an echo?
Oh, you good now? Loud and clear. Good.
Okay.
So what's happening this weekend? I didn't see. I know ain't no big names or nothing. As far as fight, you know of anything?
Let me check. I'm gonna check right now. Hold on for a second.
I was looking. All I seen was a bunch of people I never heard of. You know. So yeah, Sonny Boy is right. Not too much going on at all.
Okay, so I'm checking right now. Let me tell you who actually is fighting.
Yeah. Everybody's still going crazy over that Tank thing. That ain't gonna never. I guess that ain't gonna die down until they actually fight. But that's a good conversation, I guess. You know, people always struggling for stuff to talk about. So
Colin and Batson. So it's a they over in the UK. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So Conlon and Batson. But yeah, the thing with Tank, man, I mean, like I said, I am not particularly fond of the fight.
Yeah. I don't
I
really know who
mean,
the fan is, you know.
nobody is, and I think that people wanted things for him that I guess wasn't agreed upon. He had already agreed upon this fight, and you
Yeah.
got to get it to the point where. Remember when he made the Garcia fight? He also made
Right.
the the
Ryan and Hector,
Hector Garcia fight as
he had
well.
both of them lined up.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it was more long lines that, and I'm thinking it was to generate a little bit of income from not only himself but for Al and the PBC.
Yeah.
That's going to be a huge fight. Unfortunately, it's going to do very well for the viewing public.
You
It's
know
not
it is.
going to satisfy a lot of people, especially people who love to hate on him. See, the thing with me is that people really hate on him, and they really hate on him because of Floyd and because of Al Heyman.
That's true.
When you think of it, PBC, you think of Tank because he is the marquee fighter at the PBC, especially since Canelo's freelance and Earl hasn't been fighting, so it's Tank,
It's Tank.
and you know how people feel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like I said, he could fight everybody at 135. Some people still would be hating.
they're gonna complain, and for the I truly hope that he because in an interview he said that he would fight Jake Paul, but that there will be 4 more fights after that because of the rematch. So, and then I'm hoping that in those four, I at least get these 3 names.
Yeah.
Or these 4 names. I hope the rematch happens.
Roach.
T.O., Devin, and Shakur. You give me them 4,
That's it.
I'm good. I would hope for also, I would hope for Keyshawn Davis.
But those first 4, nobody can say anything.
Yeah, you give me those 4, I ain't got a problem because he was supposed to fight the original Kings, right? He fought Ryan, so he got 1.
Right.
T.O.'s the other. Devin is the last. So hopefully he can get T.O. and Devin and Shakur. If he gives me those 3 fights, I'm good. I would hope for the Keyshawn because, a lot of people feel like Keyshawn is one of those people that will expose Tank for who he is. They all feel like he's a fraud. And,
he got to give us Roach too.
It's sad because it's kind of hard to justify the fact that, and Roach, the rematch. Definitely give it the rematch.
Yeah. That's first. That should be first. Get that out of the way.
I would say so too. But if he give me Shakur first, I am not mad. I would not be mad at that.
Yeah.
But if you give me Shakur first, it's acceptable. But nobody else, because I don't think you go up to Devin and T.O. and then come back to Shakur or fight Roach unless it's at the same thing. And I think that, Roach should have the opportunity to fight for that belt because he felt like he was taken in that fight. Now, I watched it a couple of times now, and like I said, I ain't mad at the draw, but I honestly, looking at the action that I saw in the ring, I don't think he won the fight. I think that Tank actually pulled the fight out, but by the narrowest of margins. I think if you factor in the point deduction, you can definitely make a case for, that could have affected the fight, but then you don't know how that would have affected him in his mindset. Okay, I can't lose.
That's right.
So I got to turn up now because before that, he didn't look like he was too into the fight. He wasn't fighting like he normally fights, and he didn't even promote the fight. So I don't know. It was odd. But that being the case, I'm not going to be mad at the performance that Roach did. Roach did a performance that definitely garnered him some attention and deservedly so.
First time in the division.
Yeah, he looked real good. So. Unfortunately, now he's doing a lot of talking. Did a tour, a draw tour, and all that stuff. And I'm not condoning it, but certain people you can't talk to like that because they can get that same way. So I think that, along with the fact that he had gotten in contact with the law, so
But you know
He
what?
made it.
Deal. Roach better get another fight in while Tank fighting Jake Paul.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if he's planning on fighting Shakur Stevenson at the first of the year, the beginning of the year.
Yeah, Roach
Oh yeah, yeah. You can't just mosey into a Shakur fight. You better be sharp.
Running his mouth. He better get another fight in.
Yeah, so that's what I'm hoping. And there are people who want to fight him because check this.
I know.
If I can make him look bad, then people gonna clamor for the Tank fight.
That's right.
So yeah, and likewise for Roach
out or something, yeah,
And the same for Roach. If I go and get Shakur Stevenson and I take him down, well, it's only gonna make the rematch even that more a demand. So I mean, like I said, I'm not in his immediate circle. If I were, I would share my concern with certain things, but I would always support no matter what he do because, nobody knows what he's going through and what caused him to say the things that he's been saying and act the kind of in the fashion that he's been acting. So I just know he's been despondent from the ring. He hasn't looked the same.
No.
And I go ahead, Cash.
No, I'm just agreeing he hasn't.
And that being the case, I don't want to say that excuses what people think is him
I'll be right back.
not pressing for the fights. I think he should press for those fights, but if he doesn't, it's his career. However, I would like for him to go out there, handle business with Jay, get that bread, and then come back and get those fights and, make the declaration that, yo, you guys talked all that talk. I'm hearing that. Let's talk a different talk. So hopefully that's what we get.
Okay, I'm back to you.
Yeah, but now let's talk about this sellout business and this coon business that they're trying to put to Jerron Ennis. How do you feel about that?
Oh, say it again now.
There are people in the camp over there at Queen Bud and also just in these YouTube spaces that are calling your boy Jerron Boots Ennis a sellout and he's not on code and he's a coon and stuff like that.
That's crazy. What is he supposed to do? This is Canelo, man. You can go and get that kind of work in. I'm glad you
see it that way, Cass. I'm glad you see it that way because
who would turn that kind of work down?
I don't know. You're gonna get paid for that type of work for one. And you're gonna get a wealth of experience that you cannot.
Yep.
You cannot put a price on.
Canelo has seen everything, man.
Yeah, and he can give them. Just think when you're in there helping somebody and they're getting good work and they see something that you might be doing that they can take advantage of, they will share that to you. Like, hey, look, you gotta, when you out here doing the punch, man, you want to make sure before you throw your punch, you do this. Or if you're up against the body and you want to create space or separation, you do this. Or if you want to make sure you disguise, you get that from the sparring. And not only watching somebody do it or being a victim of somebody doing it to you, but also because you're helping them and they appreciate you. They'll tell you, hey, look, this is what it is. This is how I did that, and this is what I look for. So you get some seasoning. And
that's a good move for Canelo too. Getting boots, getting ready for Bud.
Excellent move for him. You want to make sure you cover all angles. You want to be prepared for what you might actually see in the ring.
So I don't pay no attention to those people talking that nonsense about sellout and all that.
I don't, but see, this is the problem. It's only to certain folks. And it's only by certain folks. Like everybody piles on it, but it's only towards brothers.
I know.
Brothers who happen to fight and have like a name. They all want to do stuff like that. So if they're associated with someone or affiliated somehow with someone or some entity, then it's time to it's open season on them. And we do that every single time.
Us doing it.
Yeah, man. And it gets so tiresome. It gets so tiresome. It's like, yo, you throwing stones at somebody that you got some glass, walls that you throwing from. and you're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. You were last time you even had a conversation with the brother. You told him, "Oh, you missed your opportunity. You could have had to fight." Instead of bigging up him, you trying to sun him, so to speak. So what allegiance does he have to you? And on top of that, man, you're gaining valuable experience, man. So I don't understand it. I don't particularly know why people do.
What kind of what does Boots owe Bud?
Exactly. What does he owe Bud? To be honest,
What? And nobody can answer that. That if Canelo wants him to come spar with him, what does he owe Bud to say tell Canelo no? Old Bud shit. What has Bud done for Boots? He wouldn't give him the fight, Then at one fight he talked about his performance. Remember what was it? Was it the first term? One fight of Boots, Bud said something.
Yeah, it was the Perrin Kugadadjian fight.
Yeah. So
and it was the Murtasaya. It was the
does he owe the Bud?
Murtasaya, but it was also the Evanesian fight.
Right, that's the one, Evanesian. That's the one I was thinking about. Bud made some kind of negative comment. While Boots was in the press conference, Bud tweeted something. So what kind of loyalty does he owe this guy, man?
I think his loyalty is to himself, to his circle, and to his, his family,
and to him,
and to his career.
Make himself better. That's right.
If I got a chance to learn something in the process of getting paid, oh yeah, that's a win-win for me. So now, with that being the case, I got to do what's best for me.
That's right.
Likewise, this is somebody who has had a ton of fights at 54 and higher. Yep. If I can get in there and get some good work with him and get a gauge of what he do, then I can find out where I stand at this current crop of 54 people and going up. How far ever I plan on going up, I get to see if I can gauge myself by what I'm seeing by him and how he throws punches, how he sets punches up, and how they feel when they land on me. If I I'm gonna be fully confident in my abilities to transcend with the move up to carry over. I don't see nothing wrong with it, but
yeah, if Canelo was fighting somebody else and asked Bud to come to his camp to spar with him, Bud would go. Bud wouldn't tell him no. Bud would be right in that camp sparring with Canelo himself.
This is the thing. The people who are saying these things are Bud fans, right?
Yeah.
And if they're not Bud fans, they're people who don't particularly care for Canelo. And this is what we do.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, or Boots. Yeah, definitely for Boots. Yeah. They don't care for Boots. So why would you not care for Boots? What has Boots done to make you not care? The only thing he has ever done was challenge Spence, challenge Boots. Challenge Bud, and then try to make a run at undisputed in his division, but he couldn't do it because his body is no longer able to make that
right. Yeah, we talked about that. Remember last year we talked about he had to do it like in the
next 2 to 3 fights. And what did he have? He had 2 to 3 fights and he couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
So it's time for him to move on. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with the way that he carried himself there. I mean, he tried to get the fights.
Yeah.
They were preoccupied and they had other terms that they were looking for. And you got to respect that because they had put in the work to get the belts.
So I don't understand. What's there not to like? What is it that people don't like? I don't get it. Where does the hate come from? This young man does nothing but he's doing the kind of stuff you want to fight.
So that's what I'm saying. So now with that being the case, he's not talked junk about anyone, right? So you can't say, oh, he just talks too much. I can't stand the way that he's not really even that vocal on screen. So it's not his persona. It's definitely not what he does in the ring. So what could it be?
Right.
And the only thing that I can come in line is there was an affiliation with Showtime that we know have an affiliation to
PBC.
There is the only common denominator that allows for people to do what they do with him. He's done absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
He carries himself professionally. He doesn't talk junk. He doesn't disrespect folks.
That's what you want. You know?
He goes in there, he fights, he trains, and that's it.
That
He
is
doesn't do
father
any.
time, you know?
Exactly. Got his father and his brothers in his corner. So, you know, he believes he's big on family in his circle and staying loyal to it. So everything that you would want, then that's the thing. That's the thing with the exception of like lately. That's the thing with Javante. Like, you don't want people who mind other people's affairs. Javante stay out of other folks' business. You don't say nothing unless you come at him. You want
You
people
gotta come at
who,
him hard. Most times they know him when they come at him. Until you get to a certain point, you know.
You know what I'm saying? You want people who value loyalty and things like that. He's very loyal to the people that he's been impacted by. So you know it's lately though, like I said, he has done and said some things that is questionable. But for the most part, the hate was before all of that. And it's really because of other people, man. And unfortunately, the same thing with Boots. I think Boots gets hate because of a quote unquote misapplied perception that he was in business with the PBC, and he never was in business with the PBC. Mm-hmm. He was only in business with Showtime Boxing so that they can put his fights on. It wasn't anything to do with the PBC.
Never. Mm-mm.
So yeah, unfortunately, we have that, Kaz, and you know, it's people. People do what people do, and they follow other people's thoughts.
Yeah,
and that's all we're doing. We're passing other people's thoughts, and the only reason why people hate on Al Heyman, because the boxers love him.
I know.
The boxers love his boxers love him. All the stuff they say about him, they stick by his side. They big him up. They thank him. They love him.
Yeah.
So it's got to be the competitors.
Because I'll get them paid.
Yeah, I'll get some paid.
A guy talked a couple weeks ago. He said months after the fight that happened, Al's still sending the boxer money.
Okay, and then on top of that, he's helping them to invest their money wisely so that one stays with them to last them. So, you know, they love him. You know, people do business with him 9,000, not just in the boxing, but in every single, you know, industry that he touches. So what would it be? It would only be those who are in competition with him. They have generated the narrative. They have pushed the things, and we got idiots going out there blindly following like they do with all this other triple.
Yeah.
And I can't do it, man. I don't got that energy for them, man. I root for all these people. My people in particular. You know, I root for all of them, though, because it's not easy to do what they do to get into that ring. And then on top of that, there are people who are losing their lives for getting in that ring.
That's right. Yeah.
They should be compensated. Because when they lose their life or their life is gone, nobody compensates their family.
Yeah, I support all of them. I don't care what they look like. They get in there and impress and doing it the right way. I support them, man. You know?
Exactly. So you know, I'm not mad when they want more money. No. Because for the most part, none of them getting paid. It's only a small percent that get real money.
Very small.
You don't know how much money they get off of them, though?
Some of them making money. More people working 9 to 5 jobs making more than some of these boxers, man.
Man, talk about it, Kaz. And then you talk about these people who put on their fights.
Yeah.
So you got somebody who is known for like of the top 10 fights, they got 3 of the top 10 fights of all time. Mm-hmm. That's been watched and viewed on pay-per-view. It's Manny Pacquiao. He's also been a dignitary for his country.
Yeah.
And he got to come back at 46 and fight.
I know.
Because somebody was getting the lion's share of the work that he was putting on.
All the money he made, Manny should have been set for life.
Exactly.
His grandchildren should have been set.
Exactly, because you know they got family. He got family over there, and it's not that much more. It's not expensive like it is over this way. So you know his money should really last.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's not the case. So
not the case. Nope.
So yeah, you know, I mean, it's true. It's true that, you know, these people not gonna like the fact that he's getting his fighters paid. because that means we see less of the money.
Yep.
We see less of the money. That's why they took him to court to sue him, because you're messing with our money. You are
Yep.
letting these people get bread, and we've been taking their bread. See, we're giving them a guarantee, and then we're taking everything that they earn up in that ring, and the people that watch
Right.
over. No way Manny should ever be starving for bread. As many blockbuster pay-per-view events he did, please,
No.
he should have cheese galore.
That's when that one fight with Floyd should have set it for life.
For sure.
That one fight.
For sure, because the dang sure Floyd got a check that he ain't even cashed off that fight.
Mm-mm. He
You
showed
know
it.
what I'm saying?
He said, anybody ever seen a 6-digit check? It had it in his hand, remember?
Yeah, so it ain't even cash. He still got it to this day. He ain't cashed that check.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? He holding bread. And that's literally holding money right there. So, that's what they hate. They hate that somebody like that can make that type of money, making money that they normally get off of their fighters. And Pac-Man, unfortunately, he was the victim of that.
Yeah.
Crawford was the victim of that. You know that Crawford was, because after that dang Spence fight, look at how he started acting. Started acting much more like a diva.
He sure did.
The money was real. So now if I can get this money for him, imagine if I can get in the ring with Canelo. Because I know Canelo draws more than him.
Oh, much more.
Remember who else he asked for? He asked, well, I get him. Huh?
Who say that?
Crawford, yeah. Who else Crawford had asked for? He said I could do a fight with. Yeah, I could do a fight with Canelo, or I'd do a fight with who?
Oh man, I can't remember. Who
It
else?
was Tank Davis.
Oh
Why?
yeah,
Because Tank makes money.
Jarrell was talking about that, remember?
Yeah, Jarrell was going with it. He was like, yeah, I'd love to see that. So you know what I'm saying? The only reason why he's saying that is because that's somebody I think I could beat, but that's also somebody that I can make a lot of money off. Because they know that the back end bread is good. And that's why, Lamont Roach was sitting there holding out for the money that he was trying to get, because that back end bread was good.
I think he's gonna get it again. He just gotta be patient. But he better get another fight in.
Yeah, he got to get another fight.
On Tank fighting Jake Paul, Lamont need to fight somebody.
Yeah, you got to fight somebody to stay sharp.
That's right.
I think that after the dang, what's her name? He might need to fight somebody to get sharp, because that's not Lamont Roach's skill set that he's going up in the ring with.
Yeah.
So I think he needs to fight somebody as well too, maybe a mandatory. And then line it up with him, and then hopefully we can get the Shakur. But I mean, if we can't, and time is of the essence, then hell, just go straight to the fights. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend not fighting. I wouldn't do that.
Coming back. He said making 4 fights after Jake, though.
He said 4 fights. Now that was in the interview. So now if we do that, we do that, then hey, hopefully those
Shakur got to be 2 of them. They got to be 2 of them. Lamont Roach and Shakur Stevenson.
Man, Kaz, I'm saying Lamont, Shakur, Devin Haney, and T.O. That's what I would like. Now, see, this is the cold part. It could be one of them, and then
It'd be Keyshawn.
Well, it could be Keyshawn too, but it also could be Mayweather and Pacquiao. So I don't want it to be that type of.
Manny was talking that. Manny mentioned that. Remember?
Yeah, because that's money. Because that's money. He got a pretty nice check off of fighting Barrios off pay-per-view. Imagine what he can get off a Tank.
And that's all Manny interested in, is money. His legacy is that he ain't even worrying about. He in the Hall of Fame already.
Yeah, you want to know what? That's a great point that you just made. His legacy is cemented. So why is he fighting?
Yeah.
Why is he fighting then?
Money.
For the same reason every other boxer fights. Money.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody trying to get hit in their stomach, on the back of their head, the side of their head, the front of their head, and they love and they nose.
Yeah.
And not make money. That's the reason why they're not going to a construction site or to any other thing. They doing it because, hey, I can't make this money that I possibly can make anywhere else than I can here. And Floyd is a big perpetuation of that because of the money he made.
And Manny almost 50, T. Hill, coming back.
Yeah, 40, 46, 47.
Yeah. So Tank, names like that, that's what he's trying to get. You can't blame him.
I'm not mad at him.
He ain't got too many more left in him, so he's trying to get the big ones now.
Yeah, he's trying to provide for
tune-ups and stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, try to leave a legacy for his children. That's what he's really worried about. Like something there.
Was boxing. I was keeping track of him. He was in the amateurs, but I had lost track of him.
Yeah, no, his son is in boxing. Yeah, his son is in boxing.
Amateur, right?
I remember they showed him in a fight, and he looked pretty good.
He shouldn't be that far away. I say like 26 or 27. He should be turning pro.
Yeah, because they fight out there in Thailand.
Yeah.
Philippines. I'm sorry, in the Philippines. Yeah, they fight.
They're fighting 4 or 5 times a week down there. It's only 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Calling up. I'm gonna see if I can find some information on Manny Pacquiao Jr. later, because I used to keep track.
Oh, that would be an interesting subject.
Yeah, he coming through.
Fathers and sons in boxing.
He got some big shoes to fill, so
he got some huge shoes to fill. Hey, Manny was an icon in boxing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, he provided us with some of the best and biggest fights that there is. That's why he shouldn't be in the fight right now.
I know. He fought Oscar. All of them guys, man.
That's money.
Yeah.
Fought Mayweather. That's money.
Oscar was the cash cow when Manny fought him. Remember?
He had Marquez, and they did mad numbers in their fight.
4 of them, yeah.
So it's no way he should be hurt and strapped for money.
Mm-mm.
But unfortunately, like, he only saw a guarantee. The fruits of the labor went to the person putting on the fight.
Yeah, that's right. And he was with the Bob father all them years, remember?
Exactly. And we hold no resentment to those types of individuals, but we hold a resentment to the fighters who are getting everybody to come to the event. They are putting on the show, and they're getting a fraction of the proceeds.
That's to the people like coming to see. They ain't coming to see no Bob ever.
Just like people come here to see Cash Sports.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? How Cash Sports ain't getting all the accolades? How he ain't getting a big old piece of the pie? He the person that they coming to see.
Yeah.
But yet still, we got some Tom Aram over here trying to control and manipulate things and making sure I get mine off the top. You just get this little piece right here I got for you. Thank you for your service, Cash. Thank you for the hard work you put in.
That's why I respect Jake, because he went to the promotion part of it.
I respect Jake Paul because Jake Paul considers the fans. There was an event that took place where Serrano couldn't fight. You know what he did? He refunded everybody's money back.
Mm-hmm.
Put on an event and paid everybody out of pocket. Yep. Yo, that's mad respect, because there are people who do not have that deal. That's their fault. Bob Arum didn't do that. Remember?
Said, well, y'all saw the rest of the card. So
remember, it just happened. It just happened. Mm-hmm. Bob Arum didn't do that.
No.
He didn't refund nobody their money.
He I still put a card on. So
them people in Virginia had to still pay their money.
No sore fights. Right. That's what he said. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. I can respect that. And then I respect the fact that, you know what? He'll try to give the people. I honestly believe with this Tank fight, he's going to try to coax Layla Ali out of retirement by offering her a lot more than what she asked. She asked for 20. I bet you would try to offer her, I'll give you 30.
Yeah.
You come out here and fight, get on this card, because all he wants is eyes on his product.
That's all.
This is my product. He is just but what you call that, where you use it to get things going, but that's all he is. His presence on the card.
Yeah, motivator like. Or I know the word you're talking about, but yeah, that's all his presence is. But he gonna have a nice something. But
what he really care about is that promotional company and eyes being on his products, his prospects, and his champions and his contenders. Like I want.
Did you see that card Saturday?
Yeah. He did a card Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
That's Friday and Saturday. Both of them were entertaining.
I didn't know he had those fighters like that, man.
Yeah, man. It's people out there that want to fight. There's people out there that want to fight because they see people like Javante, people like Earl Spence, people like Canelo Alvarez,
Yeah,
people like Niall Inoue making bread.
I know.
So why not? Shoot.
They
This
said I
dude
might
giving me
be.
an opportunity, and then they see what he's doing for women, and see that's what I respect a lot too, man. You know, on the card, only time that he didn't do it. No, they did it for the. No, when he fought Mike Tyson, were they the last fight, or were they the fight before the last fight?
When Jake, I think that was Jake's last fight, wasn't it? Tyson.
No, his last fight was with
Oh yeah, he fought
Julio
Cedric.
Cesar.
That's
But
right.
I'm saying, were they the last fight on the card, or did they let
Hmm.
the women go
One
after?
card he did. One
Yeah,
card.
one card he did. I want to know if that was the type, because if it was the Tyson
Yeah.
card, and yet I still let the ladies go, even though everybody's here because of Tyson.
I think it
The,
might have been
the,
that one.
the kicker was, hey, we get a heck of a fight with the women. So,
Yeah.
like, just think about it, if he can get Layla Ali to come out of retirement to fight that Clarissa Shields.
Ooh.
Oh man, you really got everybody eyes squared on you now.
Yeah.
Cause you not only got Tank, but you got Layla Ali out of retirement.
Oh man, if he can pull that off, wow, that would be huge.
So, but if not, I mean, he can put her on there and put Shadeja Green in the ring with her. So you know what I'm saying? He got options.
Yeah, as long as he can get Clarissa on the card.
Yeah. I think he gonna try, man. I think he gonna try. I think they're gonna try to put it together so they can get as many eyes as possible on there.
Is Alicia Baumgartner, who's she under? Eddie Hearn? Or is she-
Nah, she under Jake Paul too, the MVP.
He's gonna have some nice fights on
Yo,
there.
as a matter of fact,
undercard.
yeah, matter of fact, they got a lot of women that are MVP. I think Dubois is MVP.
You know that girl that fought Saturday? What was her name? Horn.
Yeah, huh?
Guess who they heard there watching? Calling her out. Ollie Holm. That might be on that card, T Hill.
That would be
Ollie
lovely.
Holm.
That would be
She was
lovely. And
there
then
to fight. And she came over there and commentated part of it when Horn was fighting. Ollie
yeah,
Holm was at the commentators table. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking that fight gonna be on that card.
that would be lovely.
Yep.
I remember Home was a boxer. I remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you know, I think also, you know, you got this one. I think her name is Elizabeth Ashoba. Aunt put me up on game on her. She's Nigerian. She like the woman's version of Tommy Hearns, man. She
I think I heard
dynamic with that. Yeah, she dynamic with that right hand. Man, that right hand starching people.
Wow.
And you know, it's kind of rare to see women out there starching folks. There's been only a few. Layla Ali, Ann Wolf,
Yeah.
Christy Martin.
Yeah.
Um,
Amanda got like 30 something knockouts too.
yeah, man. I was about to say Amanda definitely.
Yep.
Amanda
Not
definitely.
too many
She got
nowadays.
the most knockouts.
You know, it's not too many currently.
But no, it's not too many.
Yeah.
So you know, it's always good when you got somebody that can turn the lights out, so to speak, and put them on the card.
What are you talking about? You say she Nigerian?
Yeah, man, she's good. She's really good. She's tough. And when her punches land, you can see the clear effect of the punch.
You see the sweat coming off from one of them
Man,
guys.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Well, look at you. I gotta get ready to run though.
All right then. All right, man. So,
Talk.
you too.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Always.
You can take us away. Oh, what did I do? I hit something. Well, there we go. You're gonna take us away, T Hill? Well, T Hill is gone. Okay, well, another cast sports going into the history books. Justin James in the building. What's up, Justin? Haven't seen Justin James in a minute. Always a blessing to see Justin in the building. Justin James, #JBT. Good to see you, Justin. Yeah, we getting ready to get out of here, but we talked about some boxers that went from boxing, had some legal troubles, wound up in prison, or they were in prison and wound up as great boxers today. Okay. So we'll be back tomorrow with another Cast Sports. We had Justin James, hashtag JBT, BBO Boxing TV, Sunny Boy Boxing, Mike Mazik, Kensaw Love 1, Jarrell Hattie, Bruce Gas Boxing Jazz and more, Pearl Sir, Thomas Hill, Al Booger, Mike Rim, and Miss Cass. Appreciate Thomas Hill always coming up on the panel with the good boxing talk. And we will get together again tomorrow. Same place, same time. For another Cast Sports, the box story, bringing you all that boxing history. Everybody have a great afternoon. Appreciate everybody. I guess Just Do Boxing is already in progress right now. So head on over there to get some balanced, unbiased boxing talk. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Box Story bringing you all that boxing history. Everybody have a great afternoon.